Hello and welcome back to the Opera Rapid online tournament, Euro Rapid tournament, and to the very big game of the day, the Magnus Carlsen versus Hikaru Nakamura. So now we are at round 10, so the tournament is actually going on for a while, and the players now really need to think about qualification. Magnus Carlsen is actually co-leading the tournament, so he's doing quite fine. However, Hikaru Nakamura is not doing so well. He's among the players right now who would qualify, but he really needs to hold his game against Magnus Carlsen. So let's just get started with the game. So Carlsen with the white pieces and Hikaru Nakamura, the very well-known super good online player, who in the last edition of the Magnus Carlsen tour was the one who often faced Carlsen in the finals, are now playing against each other. So comes d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5. This is basically the opening that they have played forever and in previous encounters. Now comes knight c3, bishop e7, this line of the Queen's Gambit decline, and after bishop f4 castle, actually it's Magnus who starts with a smaller surprise to Nakamura. So here the main move would be e3. However, Carlsen starts with a3. And the thing is that here the best move is b6, but Nakamura is kind of not liking to play those lines. So to e3 you could also play the line with b6. However, Nakamura recently only plays knight bd7, which is the other main line. So actually to a3, Carlsen could have expected that Nakamura is going to reply with c5. And now comes dc, bishop c5, b4, and already we are kind of off opening material. There were some games like this, but it's still not a main line. It's not a main line. So now comes bishop e7, e3. And the whole problem with going forward with your pawns so early is that now they can be attacked. And now comes a5. And the dark squares on the queen side are actually quite weak. Here white plays the move c takes d5. Already Carlsen have actually thought for quite a bit, like a few minutes already, which in a rapid game with 15 minutes and 10-second increment is actually quite a lot in the opening. But now he took on d5, and the tactical justification is that if you take on b4, which is seemingly a very big move because you're threatening to take here, the bishop arrive, and then seemingly white collapses. The point is that white can play the move d6, so not saving the knight but trapping this bishop, and after b takes c, d takes e7, actually white takes back the piece, and the position is complicated. White is very far away from being lost. But this is not how the game went, obviously, because Nakamura did see that a takes b4 runs into d6, so he plays the move knight takes d5. Comes knight takes d5, e takes d5, and now white needs to go further with the pawn with b5. But now it's very apparent that the black square and dark squares, like here, are going to be very weak, and also this pawn is going to be weak. So either you push forward, but then you give away the b4 square, or you let black play a4, but then the a3 pawn is going to be weak. And we will see this is what Magnus chooses. So now comes knight d7, bishop e2, knight c5, castle, very standard moves, and now black plays the move a5, a4. And the point is, as I mentioned, this e3 pawn is going to be very weak. The black knight can jump in to the b3 square, and well, actually black got out of the opening with a very nice position. So now comes bishop e5. It's usually a good move to occupy the long diagonal, like all this diagonal, and also the d4 square is going to be under the control of white. And there is this d5 isolated pawn, but all these weaknesses, the squares on the queen side and the a3 pawn, is enough counterfeit for black. So now comes knight b3, rook a2, saving the rook, bishop e6, knight d4, and here comes a very nice move from Nakamura. He plays the move bishop d6. So it seemingly actually just loses a pawn, but it actually doesn't. So if you were to take on d6, black takes back, and after knight takes b3, I actually invite you to stop the video and find a line that not only equalizes with black, but actually gives very good chances. So the whole trick in the position is that there is this diagonal, and you really want to open it up. If you do this with a takes b, queen b, d4, then while white plays move bishop c4, blocking this double attack, and well, I mean, still black is doing completely fine. in this position, but black is not any better. However, what you can do is when the knight takes on b3, you can push immediately. So just push d4, opening up this diagonal. And well, if white takes here, then black takes this guy, and it's obviously end of the game. You're winning the rook. And if you save your knight, then what black can do is take here, and take this very important a3 pawn, having this very dangerous pass pawn, and black is clearly doing better. But so Carlsen did not fall into the trap, and he did not take on d6 and enter this line. He played the move knight takes e6. And after f takes e, white has the two bishops. However, now the black structure is actually better. There is no more isolated pawn. There is this half open f file. This b3 knight is very, very nice still. So it's clear that black is doing very well here. And very important is that Nakamura, as known to be a very fast player, he actually did play fast this game, and Carlsen was already done on time. At this point he only had like 5 minutes left, while Nakamura had about 9 minutes. Now came bishop b2, rook c8, very logical move to occupy the open file, g3, queen d7, keeping an eye on this pawn, and now comes bishop d3. And white would really like to play the move queen g4 and try to go a bit against the king with the two bishops and the queen. So now came queen f7, and just one more thing is to look after is that this a2 rook is such a horrible piece. Like yeah, it just seems simply trapped for the time being. So the point is, if you were to move your queen, then well, there are multiple moves, but you can either go knight c5, that's actually quite dangerous, or knight d2, attacking this rook. So this is not really possible, so you cannot leave with your queen. And Carlsen decided after quite some thinking to play the move e4, which is hard to say whether it's an attacking or a defensive move. I would rather say it's a defensive move. And here actually Nakamura had a very ambitious reply, which he did not play. This ambitious reply would have been d4, and the whole point is that after d4 this bishop is really dead. You really cannot go anywhere, and the bigger problem is once your bishop is dead, your rook is really trapped. And black is threatening to play e5, opening up this diagonal and really win this rook very fast. So this would have given very good winning chances for Nakamura, but he decided to play a more sideline bishop c5, eyeing this f2 pawn. So now you take on d5, takes, and bishop e5. And all of a sudden, even though Carlsen only has like a minute left, his position starts making sense. So now this a2 rook is finally out of the woods. It defends the f2 pawn, which is very important because black is just actually already triple attacked this pawn. So now it protects. It can join the game with rook e2. Your queen can get away, and all of a sudden there is quite some harmony in the pieces of Magnus Carlsen. So now comes rook e8. The bishop goes to f4, and the reason why it actually is a good move is you just left the long diagonal, which is known to be like the best place for the bishops. However, now the bishop on f4 actually does cover the f2 pawn, very important. So here comes the move rook e6, queen g4, and the very strange move of h6, weakening your structure. And so you would like to play g5, but still this structure weakening is very strange. Now comes h4. You would like to play h5 and really taking care of the light squares. However, black plays the very logical move h5. Now you have to remove your queen. And now comes a very, very uncomfortable move from Nakamura, rook f6. The whole point is that now you're threatening to take a bit and ruining the structure, opening up the white king. And Carlsen only has about like a minute, and he almost immediately decides to play the move king g2. And basically inviting black to take. However, he will have quite some way to defend. So if black were to take, you take back, and your point is that you want to probably put your rook on g1 and then try to defend that way. So, for example, knight d4 is a logical move to put your knight back. Now you can play rook g1 and try to defend this position. It's very complicated, And it's a bit surprising that given how much time advantage Hikaru had, he did not go for this. The move he played was g6. However, this is now really a big step to the wrong direction, because now you really weakened all these squares. So the g6 h5 pawn, now there are all these squares, and it's really a huge issue. So Carlsen immediately reacts very well. So first bishop h6, kicking away this guy, rook e8, bishop g5, kicking away the other guy, and now you can see that actually all of a sudden the pressure of this f2 pawn is just gone. And here comes a very tricky move from the world champion Magnus Carlsen. Here the best move is probably bishop b1, keeping attacking this pawn, maybe preparing queen c2 or queen d3, and yeah, so that would have been the best move, but he plays the move bishop c2. This seemingly cuts this guy, and also it moves into knight d4. Actually, knight d4 would have been the good move. Why bishop c2 is not such a great idea. However, it does trick Hikaru Nakamura. So bishop c2 came in the game, and now Hikaru actually did blunder. He played the move rook e1, and here I invite you to stop the video and find a way why this was a blunder. So Hikaru actually he played this move after a minute or two of thinking. Actually probably believed that this is the winning move, because if white takes on e1, then you just came with queen f2, and then you come with rook e1, and well, actually still this position is not completely over according to the computer, but humanly it seems like that white just collapses. But actually there is a winning blow here for white, which is just bishop takes g6, and all of a sudden you actually force black to take, because if you take on d1, then bishop f7 is a check, and if black takes here, then you can just finally take this rook and you are up on exchange. And actually Hikaru Nakamura in this position, the bishop g6 just completely collapsed, and he immediately resigned the game. So in my opinion, this was an amazing game by Carlsen. He was under quite a lot of pressure. If you think about this position, his position is actually objectively worse. He's very much down on clock, but he still manages to play a few good moves. E takes d5, e takes d5, bishop e5, very good move. All of a sudden his position starts making sense, and then Nakamura just starts weakening his king side with this h6, then h5 and g6 moves, and yeah, it just collapses and blunders at the end. So a beautiful game for Magnus Carlsen. This actually also means that he is going to be very likely able to move on to the knockout run. I think he is now probably the sole leader of the tournament. And on the other hand, now Nakamura is pushed back to only 50%, and he really has to fight very hard tomorrow to be able to qualify for the knockout phase. So yeah, in my opinion, just a beautiful game, an amazing finish of the day. So they played 5 rounds. Probably that's also the reason why Nakamura just collapsed. They played so much in the previous game. He had a very long fight against Ding Liren, which he actually did win, like Nakamura did win. But yeah, probably just too much chess for him. So yeah, this is about this game, and yeah, tomorrow continues with this preliminary, and then see you in those videos.